Hey fam, welcome or welcome back. Tisha here, back with another recap for Welcome to Plathville, Season 4, Episode 10. I wasn't invited. I feel like it's okay for Olivia to set various boundaries, but it's not okay for her to place her boundaries upon other people. But we'll get into it. So we begin the episode with Micah. He is back in LA and we see him go to visit a friend by the name of Michael that he met his first day that he moved out there when they were working a job together. So they quickly found out that they had a little bit of common because Michael lives, well, not because of where he lives, but because of how he was raised. So Michael lives in Venice. He's the youngest of 5 kids, and he was also homeschooled. Now, he originally wanted to become a pastor, but after attending Bible school, he quickly decided that it wasn't for him, and he switched paths. So he went from being wanting to be a pastor to being an artist. And I just felt like that was such a crazy jump that I would have loved to hear a little bit more about that. So Michael says when he met Micah and he heard his country accent and the way that he talked, that he knew very quickly that Micah was something that felt like home to him. So they talk about the dating scene and how it sucks. And he at one point says that the last date he went on was with Micah when they went to go grab something to eat. And Micah's like, oh, you thought that was a date, which leads to Micah saying that he is okay with hanging out with sexually fluid people. Now, I don't know if that means he's saying that he's open to dating someone like that, or if he's saying that he is welcome to having friends like that. Either way, it doesn't concern him. Good for you. So we find out that Michael is doing an art show and he asks Micah if he's willing to bartend for him. Apparently, Micah has bartended 1 or 2 times and he calls himself a quick learner. So he says, I'll do it. He's going to make sure that he practices so that he can add that under his belt. So it's the day of the art show. Michael is expecting, I think he said like 25 people to arrive. They come in and y'all, I was a little disappointed because when you tell me art show, I'm expecting for the camera to pan around and show me all these different forms of dope art. The thing about art is it's subjective. I may look at something and feel like it's dope, while you may look at it and feel like it's not that great. The piece that he had up on his wall that looked like it was a 3D image that he sculpted on to like a big canvas, that was dope. But you covering a surfboard with fur fabric and different types of prints and stuff like that, I don't really consider that artistic. So I was a little let down by the little bit of things that I saw, but there were some nice pieces in there. I'm not going to say like he didn't have some nice stuff. He did. I just didn't feel like we got to see a lot of it. So Antia comes, the girl that he met before to the art show. And I'm just thinking like, this isn't a real thing. If Micah was really interested in this young lady, he would have talked to her again since meeting her at his friend's house over a month ago. They would have had some conversations. He would have sought her number out. He would have asked his friend, can we do another double or something like that? But that didn't happen. But for whatever reason, this girl comes to this event and she comes without her friend that she originally, was introduced to us with. I don't really feel like Micah's interested in this girl, but there's a bunch of flirting and there's drinking and there's a lot of people that aren't really looking at the art. So she's hoping that, he'll ask her out on a date, but who knows? Now he says that he is attracted to her and he likes her, but we'll see. So we later see Mariah and Ethan. They go to the beach to have some fun. She says that she knows that she's wasted like half of the year on Max. Basically what it's saying, like, because when she got there, she was depressed and she wasn't being responsible and she wasn't paying the bills. And Ethan tells us that he feels like it's Max's fault, going as far as saying that she was crushed, and because she wasn't doing her share of things, that he actually picked up the slack. Now, I understand that she's depressed, or she was depressed, but I wish, rather than just allowing her to drop the ball in all these avenues, that someone encouraged her to seek some type of counseling. That way she could have navigated this situation better, because had she been living on her own, her being depressed would not work with creditors. They don't care about that. They want their money. So Ethan, as I said, was taking care of her bills at the time. And we later see Ethan, say he's just glad that she's in such a better place now, to the point where she is currently paying bills. And he says she got caught up on things like within 2 weeks, which makes me wonder, did she get caught up, or did she just start paying, because you already said that you were paying her side of things. So did she pay you back? Anyways, I don't know. So we see Ethan in his flippers. Then we see him snorkeling and running on the beach in them. And Mariah just thinks it's so funny. Ethan does admit that although he complains a lot about Tampa and missing his cars and all those other things, that he does like certain aspects of being there. While Mariah says, like, I like it here too, but if I'm being honest, I never thought that I would miss Cairo. But she misses the peaceful moments of Cairo, even saying that sometimes she has to remind herself just to pause and just take a deep breath and just, take in that the outside, right? They both miss it. So Mariah suggests that their brother Joshua's birthday, who passed, is coming up, and she wants to visit his grave site for his birthday. Y'all, I think I've said it before, and I'm not knocking those of you who do this. It's just not my thing. It's not my thing to visit a grave site, and that's because I don't believe that the person is there. So for me, the way that I choose to remember my loved ones is differently. I know that I have a jacket of my brother's, and even though it's been a few years now, that jacket still smells like him. And when I say there are moments where I will grab that jacket and I will just smell it, because it just reminds me of his smell. And I know I'm going to lose it the day that it doesn't smell like him, because at some point it's going to lose his scent. But I find other ways to, celebrate or remember my loved ones. Y'all know I keep him, beside the bed, and he's, throughout the house. And I look at pictures of him and I remember memories of him, and I watch videos of him, and I look at some of his drawings that he did and things of that nature. Like, there's other ways for me to celebrate someone that doesn't involve a gravesite. I just feel like it's too depressing for me. I really, really don't like it. I don't even like going there when someone is buried there. I hate it. I really do. I think the easiest grave site that I've ever been to wasn't even really like, it was a burial ground, but my grandma's in one of those monuments. So she's technically in a wall with like a marble covering, and she's facing the water. That doesn't seem so final to me as going somewhere and watching dirt be tossed on. I don't like it. Anyways, so Mariah wants this to be like a mini reunion and have all the siblings go. And to her surprise, Ethan agrees that he will go, that they can all go together. So Mariah says she's prepared to, because Ethan, doesn't really want to be around Kim. She's prepared to go with her siblings one trip and then go with her parents on another. This is when we find out later on that it's not just going to be them, because Olivia, a couple weeks ago, decided to speak with Barry. Now, she waits until now to let Mariah know this, when I think this is something that, given the circumstances, she would have told her before. And she lets Mariah know, like, look, I told him that, based on everything that's transpired, and now that him and Ethan are better, that we can start over, because I don't think that, Barry was trying to hurt me. I think that Barry did say and do some hurtful things, but out of her parents, he was more welcoming. And I feel like a lot of what he said was because of Kim. I don't agree with that. I think there are instances where Barry did allow Kim to influence him, but we're not going to act like Barry isn't a grown man that didn't utter these things out of his own mouth and make the little smirk thing that he does where you can barely see his lips and all that other stuff. We're not going to act like he didn't do stuff on his own, but y'all want to rewrite history. So, she says that he said whenever she's ready to talk, they can, and she wanted to do it person to person. So since she knows that they're going to Cairo, she's decided to basically invite herself and also invite Barry to go with them to the farm. Now, I understand that Olivia is willing to talk to Barry. But if I were Mariah, I would be irritated as well, because you should have met with him on your own time. You don't wait until something that's supposed to be about my siblings and my brother that passed now turns into you inserting yourself so that you can be a part of this and you can talk to my dad. If you want to talk to my dad, you should have already met up with my dad. It should not become a thing where what's supposed to be a visit about them as siblings and Joshua turns into Olivia reconciling with Barry, as well as inserting herself in this siblings thing. I understand that she is married to Ethan, but this is a different situation. This involves her sibling that was unfortunately unalived in a traumatic circumstance, and you want to insert yourself and then be upset if the parents of said child insert themselves as well. Anyways, so Mariah's happy for the progress, but now she feels like Olivia has control because everybody's going to be at the farm but her mother, and that's not what she wanted. I said, I think that Olivia's boundaries should not come before the loss of Kim's son. I'm surprised I'm saying this, but right is right and wrong is wrong. And given the situation, she knew Kim would want to be there. I don't feel like that's right. So Mariah says, I met up with my dad and I had one of the best times with him. I will say that both of my parents are in a different place. And she believes that about Barry, Olivia does, but she doesn't necessarily believe that about Kim. So after all the classes that they have taken on the pole, Mariah and Olivia decide to get a pole, and they don't want people to see them dancing on said pole. So out of all places in the house, they decide to put it in Ethan and Olivia's bedroom. It's weird to me. I feel like y'all got a whole garage. If both of y'all want to have access to it, why not put it in there? But I guess Ethan works on his motorcycle in the garage. I don't know. Either way, she says they get on it when Ethan's gone. So, we find out that not only do they have the dance studio, but it seems like Kim and Barry got the building up above it as well. So there's an apartment above it. It looks like a really, really nice apartment, by the way. Kim is going to turn that into a vacation rental. So we see Isaac and Barry putting together this bed, this huge, massive bed for the apartment. And I said, this is interesting that Kim does not want this man. She does not want counseling. She does not want to fix things, but she does want to utilize Barry when it comes to various projects like this, or when it comes to him backing her by purchasing this building. Anyways, so she feels like she's tired, and that even though she's never gone to counseling, in her mind, she's been trying to let Barry know that she wants a divorce. Now he's in denial and he's not listening, and she wants out, while he's hoping that it will be okay. So she sends Isaac to get breakfast, and she tells Barry, look, like several months ago, we talked about how you were treating me. that you would take your frustrations out on me, and that you were being harsh, and that I didn't know if you were going to be grumpy or not. And it was affecting me. It was affecting how I felt about myself. And Barry's looking at her, and Barry says, guilty as charged. Now, do I think some of what she's saying is true? Yes. But I feel like Barry, much like his son, doesn't like conflict. And I think that for whatever reason, Barry thought if he would agree with everything that she was saying in that moment, that they would be okay. But Barry, no, she's done with you. She's been done with you, hon. You can pray all you want to. Kim don't want it. So he says his whole guilty as charged. Now she continues by saying that she felt like Barry was doing just enough to get her to stay, but he wasn't valuing her or loving her for who she is. And I said, how can he value you for who you are when you yourself do not know who you are, when he doesn't even know your stance on everything, because you yourself have not even admitted to the man that you're drinking again? See, Kim wants all these things, but she herself isn't being vulnerable or transparent. Just because you're saying certain things doesn't mean you're showing the actions that back up those things. Because she told her son that she hasn't told him that she's drinking. So she says this isn't a marriage that she wants to save. So he tells us that he feels like that's a lie, that he did value her, but he doesn't know if it's a defense mechanism or not. He just shuts down and doesn't say anything when she says this. It's because you don't know how to healthily express yourself. And as I said, you don't like conflict. And he said it didn't make sense to say anything because it's clear that she already made her decision. She has. He still loves her. And he gets at this point that he just needs to come to the terms with the fact that they are done. That the only way that they will be together is if some miracle happens. And it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. So we later see Ethan, Mariah, and Olivia head to the Plath's house to get the kids. Before going there, they call Isaac just to make sure that Kim is not there. He says, no, she's not here. So they come, they walk in the house. Well, no, first Barry comes out. No, Mariah's ringing the doorbell a whole bunch. Isaac comes to the door and he's like, you're pissing dad off. And Ethan's like, it wasn't me, it was Barry. Makes me wonder what a pissed off Barry is like. Because why didn't Ethan have to hurry up and say that it's him? It's something about Barry that's not as calm as he tries to make himself seem. I still think Kim is worse, but Barry's no angel. So the little girls come running out and hug Olivia, showing that they miss her. The energy is nice. Barry comes out, he speaks, he acknowledges her, and he welcomes them all inside. The little girls show Olivia their messy room while the guys talk. Barry tells Ethan at this point, papers are going to be signed, a divorce is going to happen. He says he's processed things. He's had his different emotions. It's not what he wants, but it's going to happen. And Ethan is remembering how it felt when, he didn't want Olivia to leave and she left. And at this point, he's thinking of his parents, and all of this is doing to him is making him question things. So Barry tells him, look, you may find out more about what's going on if you talk to your mother, because I have my side and she has hers. And you can see the sadness in Barry's eyes as he's talking about it, that he's trying to, be strong and cordial, but it's clear he's hurting. Ethan looks lost. So I just got to say, divorce sucks. So we see Olivia and the younger girls. She says Cairo is triggering, but she does want to spend time with the little girls and the family. So we see Kim alone in the studio apartment. She knows that everybody else is at the home getting ready to meet up at the farm. And she just feels like at this point, the punishment that she's getting from them, the icing out and all those other things, doesn't fit the crime. Y'all let me know down below. Do you think that Kim deserves this treatment? Because I'm a little undecided about it. She fell short, she says, in some areas of parenting, but it's uncalled for to It's uncalled for to alienate her from certain areas of the family. Here's the problem that I have with this. I do feel like when it comes to visiting the grave site, that y'all can't tell that mother if she can or cannot go to see her child, because that's what she feels like she's doing. I also feel like it's more than reasonable, like Mariah said, for them to go in different sets. So how hard would it have been if they decided to have Ethan and Olivia go in one set and then have the other kids who aren't upset with their parents go in another? I also feel like at some point Kim needs to apologize without making excuses and be accountable for the things that she said. So her plan is to see everyone the following day on Joshua's actual birthday at the cemetery. So they all sit with Barry and they talk about the plan. Olivia's told that, Olivia assumes that Kim is not going to be there when she's there. And she tells them that even though Micah can't be there, she told Micah that she'll call him when they get there. Now, Barry suggests that Kim comes because he doesn't want her to feel rejected or ostracized or not loved. Meaning, okay, y'all are saying how you feel about it. You want Kim to come. Ethan doesn't want her there while he's there. He says at one point he wants to talk to his mom, but not here, not now, not for this. He just wants to focus on his brother's birthday and deal with her at another time. Olivia is asked how she feels about that, and Olivia doesn't necessarily say it, but Olivia doesn't want it. She says she doesn't necessarily agree with Ethan on that, but she doesn't want it. But that's his mom. So whether or not he decides to work things out with his mom isn't her place. That's my opinion. Tell me yours. Now, Mariah feels bad for her mom because she's being excluded. She asks her dad how he's so sweet with everything, and Barry says it's the grace of God. Ethan says whatever he has, you don't, and they all laugh about it. They head to the farm to spend the night and have some fun, and we find out that Barry is going to join them later. Ethan can't wait to be a little kid again because all he's talking about is all the different things that he has on the farm. Olivia feels like it's just going to be them at the gravesite. She feels like Barry and Kim could go together. I put at the end, Barry, what did I say? Olivia is in no position to decide whether or not Kim and Barry can go together. But we all know that the siblings, I guess, are going to talk, and it's going to be determined that Kim can go. We'll see that, though, next episode. Let me know what you thought about this. Do you guys feel like Olivia had a right to feel like Kim shouldn't be there? Especially considering that Olivia wasn't even originally invited. It kind of sounds like she invited herself to me. But let me know your thoughts down below. Until next time, peace.